All right, everybody, welcome back. The UFP Media's Michigan High School Athletic Association playoff preview show. Myself, Mark Miller, we're here, and welcomed again by the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks wide receiver coach, Bob Patterson. Thanks for coming back, Bob.
Thank you for having me. All right. Nice.
It's been fun. I'm sure
You
as
asked me
fun as
back
this
again,
is.
so I must have did something right.
Exactly. As fun as this is, I'm sure I still think you'd probably rather be practicing and get ready for the semifinals after.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I left school today, I did see Notre Dame practicing today, and it was awesome. It's pretty cool. And I said last week, I was in a situation like this first, our first year at Bloomfield with Lasser, and to get to this point, it's true. It's pretty special. It's something you always remember, and it's something, like I said last week, when you're in the Final Four in your division, I could remember every single day of that week of practice, again, that led up to kickoff of that game. And it's just awesome. It's awesome. Be practicing.
And there's only so much you can do as a coach in no matter what level you're at. You're in the final 2 weekends of the season. There's only so much prep you can do. There's only so many plays you can really add. Most of it's probably just a lot of fine tuning and just making sure your players are ready and probably not overwhelmed in a lot of cases.
Absolutely, it is. It's a lot, making sure you're healthy. You guys are healthy. You always add a few things in there, here and there. I know we always like to add a few trickery type stuff, which was fun, with our offense that we'd like to run. You always run those 2-point plays, but things get a little more interesting this week. I mean, things get a little more on edge a little bit for everybody because this is a trip to Ford Field, so to play for a state championship. And there's some teams that maybe this is the first time being here.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you're a little more film watching, I guess, more at night and things like that. But, but like you said, like it gets darker earlier. So you do what a lot of coaches and good teams do is you stick to what worked for you to get to this point. So,
Absolutely. And Bob, I don't know if it was a conscious choice, but I see the colors that you're wearing today.
Yeah. Yes, I was going to mention that.
And for those that don't know, on Tuesday of next week is the battle of the Mid-American Conference with Western going to be playing at Eastern Michigan. So we'll talk about that on Sunday. But I just I had to point that out. If I'm wearing my Western, I'm sure you're wearing you were there under the Eagles. You weren't there as a Huron, correct?
I was, yes. Right when they changed over. Yes, I was an Eagle.
They lost a major marketing. They could have been the EMU Emus. I mean that to me,
right?
That would have been some great funding. But talk about some great actions, some great things
here, Bob.
I'm wearing
green, right?
Well, I'm sure it's for Notre Dame, but it's also for your Eastern Michigan Eagles.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, Bob, speaking of great games, everything else, and kind of going from there, what'd you take away from last weekend? We'll go over all the games, but what was the one big thing you saw or the one matchup that you were kind of like really stood out from the rest?
So there's two that stood out. Number one, I think for me was the Divine Child Harper Woods game.
Mm-hmm.
Harper Woods, this was Division 4. Harper Woods ranked number 1 in that division. Divine Child is a good football team, not taking anything away there. And a lot of people, I think, expected Harper Woods with their athleticism and speed and things like that. But Divine Child just came out, manned up, and it came down, I think, to the end and took it from Harper Woods. Neutral field, home field, whatever. I said that last week. It doesn't matter where you play, I think. And those two teams, I think, realize that. So it was a heck of a football game, and Divine Child came out victorious over number 1 seed overall in Division 4 there, Harper Woods. So good kudos to Divine Child.
Yeah, 16 points scored in that game. And look at the rest of Division 4, 33 to 41, 41-42, 52 to 14. So to see that defensive battle, I was an offensive lineman, you're wide receivers. We'd love to see points, but at the same time, it's awesome to see that defensive battle.
Absolutely. And you're going to get a lot, this time of year, that's what you do get. You're going to get a defensive battle, as you should, man.
So what was the second game you said that kind of stood out a little bit?
I was going to point out, the Clarkson CC game, just the way I thought it'd be closer.
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit closer. Well, 42 to 13.
Yeah.
CC took Clarkston, so CC Catholic Central is a well-oiled machine, man. But so is Clarkston, and man, they put up numbers on them, and it looks like
Well,
they kind of took it to them. But
I'm just looking at
only
their stats.
13 points for
Yeah, the
Clarkston.
stats right now. I only have CC stats here, but Duke Banta, the junior quarterback for CC, was 11 for 17, 244 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rushing, what do we see here? Cedric Williams, senior, he had 112 yards and 13 carries. Samson Gash, only 1 carry for 1 yard. And Gash had, Samson Gash had 6 receptions for 139 yards and a touchdown. Okay, so there's where he really saw it there. All-purpose yards, Samson Gash led the way with 139 yards and pretty incredible there. And
they like to run the ball, right?
Clarkston had 18 yards receiving for the game and 70 yards rushing total.
Wow. Total.
Yeah. So they really held them in check.
Wow. So they got their defense, Catholic Central, man, tough.
Well,
to hold them to that.
Gauntlet. Think of the gauntlet that CC has to go through. You've got Brother Rice in the Boys Bowl. You've got Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You've got De La Salle. And we'll talk about some of these other games. The quality talent in Toledo Catholic Central, Toledo St. Francis that are now, that are in there as well. So these are all powerhouses in the Catholic League.
Yeah. There's, you can it's always like a good topic to talk about who's the strongest league, in football, high school football right now here in the state of Michigan. And, is it that Catholic League, or is it MAC
PSL?
or the MAC Red or OAA Red, they say. But, you got a lot of those up north teams too. But this league, Catholic League at CC, Brother Rice and all those guys are in is very tough. Year in and year out, obviously.
What's really positive to see too is the Detroit Public Schools, that PSL leagues. And you had for years, I think they were down for a number of years, especially when we played. They had some great talent there, but seeing the quality of talent, I think what's happening is you're not seeing as many kids being poached by those private schools and going out. They're staying in some of these schools, the Cass Techs, the King, the rest of them, and really doing a great job there.
For sure. And then, like you said, and it looks like it's shaping up to be CC Cass Tech here in the final here.
That's what I'm hoping
for. Probably what everyone's going to want to see.
Absolutely. So let's, the one game, I'm going to start with my game that was kind of the shock for me. And it's been a shock all along. I talked to some of the LaSalle guys. They messaged me today, and I eaten crow again. LaSalle 38, King 20. I don't know what to say. Once again, you talk about the gauntlet they played, but they got blown out. How many games? Orchard Lake St. Mary's blew them out. Running Clock blowing out. And to see them come through, they're obviously talented, but you drop down from playing Division I, Division II schools. Now all of a sudden you're playing in Division III. How much has that affected? When you guys played, you were with Bloomfield Hills. You guys are 2. Is it 2 or 3?
Right now?
Yeah.
We're Division I.
Oh, you're Division I. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
playoffs.
And so a lot of cases, teams that play, higher up and they punch up during those regular seasons. I think they have an advantage going into the playoffs, especially if they're going down.
Oh, for sure. LaSalle does what they do, and as you do, once you get in, all you got to do is get in. So, and then they're going to do what they do. So,
they don't have any stats for the recap. Let's see if they've got it here. No recap for the LaSalle game. I was curious to see what some of those stats were, but needless to say, they blew them out. It just wasn't a close game. Shout out to, by the way, my brother Rob and my goddaughter Gabby, who is a cheerleader for LaSalle. She goes to Regina, her sophomore at Regina. So they'll be at, we'll talk about it in a minute, but they'll be up at Grand Blanc. By the way, I don't know have you ever seen Grand Blanc's field?
No.
To me, Grand Blanc's field is the best field in the Metro Detroit area, if not Michigan. I'm going to bring this up. Grand Blanc's field is not it's not a high school field. This is a Division II college. And if I bring this up, spell right now. By the way, shout out to Mr. Tech Ready for teaching me how to type when it comes there. All right, so I'm going to bring these up here. Give me a second to share my screen with you, Bob. This probably seats 10,000 people, this stadium.
Their
And so when you see
division,
this,
Grand Blanc, that's 1, right?
Division 2, I believe, two or three,
2.
but yeah. So when you see
Oh,
this,
wow.
yeah, that's the one sideline, and it goes all the way up. It's pretty amazing, some of the views of the field and everything else. And not only that, I mean, they've got a. By the way, when did schools get jumbotrons? That's what I want to know, because
Yeah,
they have a jumbotron.
their scoreboards and stuff are starting to get a little bit bigger and bigger now.
It's crazy, which is kind of cool because, these schools, especially the public schools, have audio visual. They have TV studio production departments, and you put that up there. Why not put the kids to work and do that?
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. So to me, that's the best stadium. We'll put a poll out, and I'll ask the people what. Obviously, CC's is an incredible complex that they've got there. You saw Roseville even had a nice complex there. Some of these other schools have these nice complexes, but that's far and away kind of beats it. So let's go review some.
These Final Four semis are all neutral sites now. They're all at a neutral site, which again, to put them in a neutral site for a semi, but I think also with facilities, with bigger crowds.
Oh yeah.
For these schools and stadiums that they look for.
Yeah.
Like that Cass Tech game this weekend is at Troy Athens. Troy Athens always host that semi game, one of those semis. Yeah. And I mean, they got great facilities. So
where did we play? We played Caledonia. I remember it was in Lansing, but I can't remember what field it was. Was it Everett?
That was before I started at Lasser.
Yeah. Caledonia. Yeah, that was one of my first years when I was
at Lasser too.
Oh, well, because Caledonia, it's halfway.
You played Caledonia, right?
We played Caledonia
in the semis.
Correct, in Lansing.
Okay.
So
I remember that trip.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, so let's review some of the games from last week, kind of just quickly. We'll get some, initial thoughts. All these were Friday night games. Groves beat Lakeview. It was at Lakeview 37-14. It's not really surprising. I thought Lakeview would put up a bigger fight, but Groves has got a pretty damn good team this year.
Groves is always, for the last 5 to 6 years, has been around here. Semis, a chance to punch their ticket to the state championship game for this Division II. Actually, I'm rooting for them. They're close to Bloomfield. Yeah. I know some of their coaches, and like I said, I know they're around, and they run a good program over there. So I'm kind of a little bit rooting for them, Groves. They deserve a shot to finally try and get there and do it. So we'll see.
One day I'll figure out the OAA colors and the MAC colors and all the rest of these, because I got no clue in any of them.
Yeah. And they change it every year, kind of too.
Yeah.
So.
If we're going to do this next year, that's one thing I got. You're going to have to quiz me on that. A little bit of the north and west side. East Grand Rapids, who always has a great team, played Mount Pleasant. 28-14, Mount Pleasant won. Not quite a surprise. If I'm not mistaken, Mount Pleasant Oilers were undefeated coming into the game. And so, kind of expected when it came down to that. But still, it's always weird. East Grand Rapids, typically they're always in the Final Four or in the championship game when it comes to that. Not too big a deal there. Jefferson, I think they scored the most points this week, 71-45 over Michigan. I mean, that's just incredible. 100 and almost 20 points scored in that game.
You're right. Yeah. They put 71 points up last week.
Scoreboard operator must have had a tendinitis after that game. I'm trying to see if there's, let's see the recap. Let's see if they've got any of the stats from that game now. Michigan Max Preps doesn't have it. But still incredible there. Some other ones, as you mentioned, LaSalle beating King at King. That was obviously the weird, because it was I think a 5 o'clock kickoff, because for PSL I always do that. Another big score, Bob. Hudson 68-22 over Springport. Wow. You think about the game with you think about the Divine Child Harper Woods game 10-7, 10-6. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm looking here right now. Rushing wise, Hudson had 251 yards rushing. One of the sophomore had 168 yards, 11 yards, 72 yards, and comes down to Springport, 122 yards passing and 89 yards rushing. So right there was your difference, obviously, for that. Must have been some real turnovers too. The other game, Goodrich, another, not a surprise, beating Williamson, but only by 7 points or 8 points. We'll go through some of these other ones quick here. Sorry, my screen just blanked out for a second. All right. As mentioned, Goodrich 41-33, Glen Lake and Bark River Harris 22-21. Bark River Harris moving on. Kingsley 18, City 14. Once again, field goal gate, the goalpost gate still moves on. We're going to talk about this one more in depth, but Adams 29, Romeo 13. I saw Adams for the WJR game of the week. We saw them. They were hosting Rochester. And, it's hard to tell if you're on the field, but it looked like they had some talent, but to get to the state semifinals, I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, they've really shown well. Coaching has been very solid with them. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, those are two teams. Yeah, that you hear their names during the playoffs once we start and get going. I think they're obviously we said it last. They're the Cinderella kind of that division. So I mean, don't count anybody out there. Don't count Adams out, right? I mean,
no, it's going to be tough. I mean, Adams is going to be playing Cass Tech. We'll get into that in a minute.
Right.
That's the other shocker of the week, but. We're going other scores to St. Mary's Prep. By the way, I love the nickname Eaglets. I don't know what it is, but I love that nickname. Beat Dow 42-7. The key stats here: St. Mary's had 292 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, and that's all it really was. They just ran the ball right over them.
Yep, you got to be able to run the ball too this time of year. I mean, that's key too. I mean, I think you got to have both aspects of being able to throw and run, but you got to in these type of weather elements here, cold weather, obviously here in Michigan, you got your boys up front, and you can run the ball. You can do some good things, man. I'm telling you.
Well, and you never know what kind of weather you're going to get. I mean, I mentioned Friday nights this year. We did all the WGR games. We had rain for 10 minutes That's it for Friday, the entire year. How is it possible we went through all Friday this year without any major rain? Is just incredible.
It's been great because a lot of coaches, me, myself, when you have to have a delay, the delays are the half hour in betweens, and it's just
lightning strike. There's another half hour,
and then sometimes you got to come back the next day, and when you got to come back the next day on like a Saturday morning or whatever, and it all has to do with your crew, your referee crew, what they can do the next day. Like you're either coming back in the morning or you may come back at night. I don't know, but it's just coming back that next day. So those weather rain delay ones are tough. And we had a great fall this year. It was a great fall, man.
Weather was beautiful
for sure.
The game you were at, Bob, Notre Dame Prep 42, Frankenmuth 28. Talk about that game with what you saw with Notre Dame and
Go Irish. Yes, everything I expected. It started off back and forth a little bit. Notre Dame hunkered down, though. They play like I expected them to play. They play fast. They get to the football. They run hard. And you got Sam Stowe that leads that offense, they did a tremendous job. But Frankenmuth put up a fight. I mean, both teams, fought back and forth. But in the end, I think Notre Dame was just a little bit better than Frankenmuth this year again. So they move on. They play well on both sides of the ball, the Irish, Notre Dame. I mean, both offense and defense. And, I just said you got to have some boys up front that can play. They got some boys up front. Notre Dame that can play. They got a running back, last name by the name of Liperato. He can run the ball, again, like with Sam Stowe. But the big thing that I love about Notre Dame is I said this about them last year, and I said it last week. Again, what they do this year is they fly to the football, man. Their defense, they just fly to the ball. And that's like gang tackle, and that's what it's about, man. That's what you try and teach your defense, man. Get 11 hats to the football. And I feel that's what they do. They perfect that pretty good. Monroe Jefferson put up like 71 points last week. I don't know how good they are, but they're here for a reason. They're here in the semis for a reason. So you can't ever take anybody lightly. But I like my Irish. And I like their chances to move on to Ford Field Thanksgiving weekend.
What am I seeing? Sam Stowe stats. Try saying that 3 times fast. 12 of 19, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. Looks like is it Tartaglia, number 44, had 88 yards in a touchdown.
Yeah. Sam's very smooth and very poised, and it's what you want in your quarterback. I mean, he's very poised. Doesn't get rattled.
44, Edison Academy 8. Here's a close game. Lowell, and we'll talk about that. We'll kind of go through the rest of these. But Cass Tech 42-28 over Saline. I think you look at, and I think some of the big news coming prior to that game was Tommy Carr flipping from Miami of Ohio to Michigan. I mean, that's usually it's Michigan to Michigan State. You don't usually go Miami of Ohio to commit to Michigan. But I mean, a quick question. Let's talk about that for a second. What does that say about Michigan's quarterback situation right now? If he switched over and he's going, I mean, what did he see that, maybe what's the situation right now with Bryce Underwood?
So are you asking, will Bryce leave? Will he go
no,
somewhere else? Will he?
Well, you're paying.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Maybe Tommy just, he's gonna
got a hunch,
learn a little bit behind Bryce a little bit and see what happens.
It's sad to say these words. You're paying $2 or $3 million for a quarterback in college. He's going to be your starter. Why does that hurt me so much to say? I don't know why. But Cass Tech, CJ, I think it's CJ, correct? The big player for Cass Tech had 2 or 3 pick sixes in that game. Incredible.
Sadler,
yeah, Sadler, what he did on the defensive ball.
I mean, he's supposed to be the best player in the state.
Yeah. Dexter 56-42. DeWitt put up 70 on Fenton. And then Cabrini 34, Madison 32. Let's go to some of that Saturday action game. East Kentwood in Hudsonville. I'm shocked. 52-28. East Kentwood blew them out. I thought Hudsonville will put up a little bit more of a fight when it came to that. Stat wise, wow. East Kentwood's quarterback, K-Ed Kaufman, 21-32, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Bill's quarterback situation, they only passed for 156 yards between their 2 players. East Kentwood's rushing, 265 yards rushing there. That's obviously where you're seeing it. And East Kentwood's, who was it? Kaufman had 210 yards on the ground. So not only did he pass for 273 yards, but he ran for 210 yards as well on 12 carries. That's between his all-purpose yards and his rushing, that's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I can't remember, where's he being recruited right now? He's got to be going somewhere.
State, I thought.
Is it State? Okay. All right. I couldn't remember where Kaufman was going.
Sure. I'm pretty positive.
Yeah.
Michigan
6'2",
State.
190. So he's a good-sized quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back to some of those games. Here we go. Deckerville and St. Patrick. St. Patrick winning 36-15. Let's see here. I mentioned the Harper Woods and Divine Child, but, somebody's going Portland and Vicksburg, 42-41. Vicksburg winning. Kingston. Harbor Beach beating Beale City. How many times have you seen Harbor Beach and Beale City in the Division 8 championship game? So, all right. So we saw there. So now let's switch it over a little bit. Let's talk about what we're seeing for this matchup coming up. So ironically, there is only one game this Friday. I'm shocked. All these games are being played on Saturday at 1:00, which weather right now for fans, there must be a reason why Rocky River and Catholic Central are playing at 7:00, but we'll see there. But now let's talk about Division I. First game that you're really seeing is you're going to be in Jackson on Saturday at 1:00 is East Kentwood and Detroit Catholic Central. Being power against power. And you saw what East Kentwood put up 52, and you know what Cass Tech could do. What do you think would be some of those keys, and what do you think, what's that outcome you see from this game?
So East Kentwood that's Kaufman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's putting up numbers. He's a heck of a football player. That team's rolling right now. But I do like Catholic Central. I just like everything that they're about and what they can do. And I think they're just, they put up 42 on Clarkston. So, I haven't seen East Kentwood play this year, I admit. So, but I'm going to go with CC on this one.
I just feel like Catholic Central is that team of destiny right now. Every time I've seen them and what I've seen, they're 12-0 for a reason. They're playing well. East Kentwood's 10-2, but I like it's the same thing. I can't see Catholic Central losing. I see Samson Gash and the rest of the team and everybody else having a huge game. I can't see it coming out any differently than that. But once again, I could see this as being like a 60-58 game or something like that.
Right. Right. It's going to be a back and forth.
Talk about that same one. The other matchup, when it comes down to it, you got the Technicians of Cass Tech playing the Rochester Adams Highlanders. And once again, that's at Troy Athens. We joke and we talk about home field advantage, but obviously that game's a lot closer to Rochester than it's going to be for Cass Tech. I mean, it's, 20 miles for Cass Tech, so it's not huge, but
they always so it has to do with the miles, I guess, between each school, right? I mean, that's why last week's Harper Woods Divine Child, they try and put it in the middle, these two schools right now. So
East Kentwood and Catholic Central is going to be in Jackson, so it's about halfway between each school. I mean, it doesn't get either of them there, but two Metro Detroit teams, obviously, you're a little more limited as to where. I mean, you could have played that game, could have played it at what do you call it, down in Wayne State's game, but then that's basically a Catholic Cass Tech games. Either way, I think what you're going to see there is I think you're going to see Cass Tech's athleticism. I think their speed is just going to be too much for Adams to handle. And Adams got some great athletes there, but I think what you're going to see is just that speed and that athleticism really come to play.
Correct. And Cass Tech's no stranger to Troy Athens football field. I remember watching them for many years. They've gone to the semis.
Yeah.
And they've played at Athens a lot. That's where they put that game. So I agree with that. I think they're just going to be a little too much for Adams with their athleticism.
No,
Adams will put up a fight. I think they're going to put up a fight, but you never know. I root for the OAA, but I think Cass Tech's going to be a little much.
I think if the way Adams is going to have to do this is Adams will have to punch fast too quickly. They're going to have to score fast in their first 1 or 2 possessions, and then you're going to have some ground control and pound the ball. If you can do that and keep the ball away from Cass Tech, I think that's your one way you're really going to have to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Slow the game down a little bit.
And I think we both agree Cass Tech, and it's going to be that dream matchup of Cass Tech and Catholic Central. That game is going to be, by the way, did you see the schedule for the playoffs? It's going to be Friday and Sunday this year?
Yeah, Friday, Sunday. Right.
Because of Michigan State playing their game on Saturday. But that game is going to be, the winner of that game, the Division I state final, will be Sunday, November 30th at 7 p.m. So that's a prime time game. It's a huge game right for there.
Yes.
No Lions, so we got to get our butts to Ford Field that day.
They are on TV though, right? They're all on.
They are, but let's get down to the games.
And correct. Like, I don't mind sitting on my couch watching those games, They get some great crowds there though, because I remember when my brother and dad were at LaSalle and they made their runs and won theirs, by the way, going to a few of those games. I mean, their crowds, and to get in there, it's like, they bring the alumni to all these games, these high school games. And I mean, it's fun. It's cool. But I mean, if they're on TV, I don't mind staying home, sitting on my couch watching them.
I tell you what, Bob, where a great place to watch that game is. We went to, a little aside, as the UFP media, when we went to the Panthers. We got credential for the Panthers. So to be up in the sidelines for the game and up in the press box. Yeah. So it's a fun place to watch those games. You don't have to be with the peasants. No, just kidding.
For sure.
For sure. All right. So let's go to Division II. First matchup. This is going to be at Hazlitt, Orchard Central and Orchard Lake St. Mary's. I think Orchard Lake St. Mary's is the same boat as what LaSalle is. They are playing these teams much higher than what the other teams are. Orchard Lake St. Mary's and it's not as close as the score was, but got dominated by Catholic Central. They came back and they made a game of it at the end, but CC just took care of them most of the game. I have no clue which Orchard Lake St. Mary's is going to show up. Is Portage Central going to do? Portage Central's played quite a few close games, and they've had some close stuff coming on. They beat Traverse City Central last week by 4. But I mean, if I have to say, I think only because of bias of seeing them play is Orchard Lake St. Mary's. But what do you think of that game?
I think Orchard Lake is kind of they're back. They went away for a little bit, and then now I think they're back as far as their program. They're pretty dominant again with that league they play in. Yeah, I put anything on those teams that play in that league. Pretty much against anybody they go up against, from that Catholic league, and to get this far. So I like Orchard Lake in this one.
All right. Well, let's move down now to one of your OA8. I see your daughter in the background there. Was that Millie back there?
That's Millie. Yep, that was Millie.
By the way, quick aside, Bob, I still remember the day when we met at Bad Brad's barbecue for lunch and told you that we were having Charlotte, and you're like, nope, got you beat. We're having twins.
Yes. Yep.
Two 42-year-old dads. So Dexter is playing your OAA foe in Groves. Dexter's played some great football. I mean, they're part of what I don't remember, is it the Huron Valley Conference that they're part of?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
They've been on the rise since Dexter. They've been knocking on the door.
Yep. And they've had some blowouts. I mean, they blew out Gibraltar Carlson, and they blew out South Lyon, and then they blew out Livonia Franklin. So, okay, let's go back a step. You're a coach. You've been coaching long enough. And I heard this said this year from a few teams that basically, and even some college teams I saw this, is that the worst thing they're doing is they're blowing out teams and their full players aren't playing the full game. They have to put their backups in the second half. And it really hurts some of these teams when they have a very close game, as they can't handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but well, first of all, high school, it's great to get those kids in maybe that don't get as much playing time,
Yeah.
Um,
Or you go to a
I
Division 8 school like us, and everyone plays the entire game and passes out.
both ways too, right?
Yeah.
Both ways. But, you just, you be respectful too when you play the game, as far as, running up the game and running up the score and things like that, you don't want to be doing that. So I see that though. I could see that where your guys aren't playing a full game. And then, when it comes down to playoff time, when these guys got to play full 4 quarters, how do they respond to it? But you get to this point, like, I've repeated myself here, but when you get to this point, it's like, hey, come on. This is about the seniors. I mean, this is about the seniors and about, you've got 2 more games to go here. So it's time to dig deep.
Well, let's talk about too. Let's take a quick aside. We both coached for a while. I coached for 9 years. You coach whatever. When you get to the level here, it's weird to hear parents and a lot of people. And I don't want to go off on parents. I don't want to go off anywhere there, but about their kid not getting enough playing time and whatever the case may be. And even it's happening at college, and shoot, it's probably even happened to pros. To me, every level you go up, if high school coach isn't winning, what's going to happen? They're going to fire him.
Yeah, like anything else.
It's yes, it is about raising, good young men. It's about teaching them. It's about doing everything else you can. But at the same time, you got to win. If you're only there to get a participation trophy, it's tough for that.
For sure, I agree. Yeah, I mean it's it's competitive. You're there for a reason, to build the program and to win football games. So that's what you're looking. I mean, of course, you want to teach these kids, about life and life lessons and the game and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's it's about winning the game, and getting to this point, But so yeah.
I think Dexter's going to beat Groves. What do you think? Who do you think's going to win that game?
So I think Groves has they've been knocking on the door, and the problem is they couldn't get past LaSalle at this point. So now LaSalle's in Division 3, and Groves is here again, and they're going up against Dexter. But I think this is their opportunity, and I think they get the job done this weekend.
Yeah.
And get past Dexter to get to Ford Field this year. That's what I'm going to say my prediction is for Groves.
And that's our first game we've disagreed on. But winner of those will play Friday night. That's the primetime game, Friday night on Black Friday, 7 p.m. at Ford Field. So either way, whoever you're going to have, I think Orchard Lake St. Mary's will be there. It'll be a great game, and you'll see some great pieces there.
Yes.
Let's go Division 3. This is the first game. Is going to be Mount Pleasant playing Lowell in Greenville. Mount Pleasant's been scoring a lot of points. I remember top team in the state. I don't know much about Lowell. Looking at here, Lowell's had some tough games. They haven't necessarily blown anybody out. They've had some tough games coming in there so far. I got to think that Mount Pleasant's going to win. I think they're going to continue. What about you with Mount Pleasant?
Yeah, Lowell's been around too. It's been a while since they've been back, I think. But here they are again. They're no stranger to this. Their program. But yeah, I think Mount Pleasant, they're a little going to be a little much for them, but we'll see, here, see what they can do, Mount Pleasant. But I like Mount Pleasant's chances as well.
Yeah. All right. The other game, this is going to be played at Grand Blanc, is De La Salle playing DeWitt. On paper, DeWitt is 12-0. La Salle is 6-6. number 6 or 9 team in the state. DeWitt is just beating up on their opponents. I mean, if I'm just going to go here and look at their games for the season, beat Hazlitt 21-3, beat Mason 44-37, beat Lansing Waverly 55-0, beat Galloway Westland from Ohio 38-28. Beat East Lansing 58-7. Beat Holt 58. So they've been putting up some massive numbers. They put 70 on Owasso. They put 63 on Lansing Everett. And then they put 70 up last week. I mean, this team's averaging almost 50 points a game right now. I want to see LaSalle win. I want to see I could see that, but you look at LaSalle, other than these last couple of games, they've had a rough time of it. Everything in my heart says DeWitt's going to blow them out. DeWitt's going to blow them out. DeWitt's going to blow them out. So you know what it means, Bob? It means LaSalle's going to win a close game.
Win. Yeah. I mean, LaSalle's going to have a good match. They're going to have – it's going to be a tough one. This is a one I'm not sure of, actually. I mean, I can make a prediction. But for this game, I don't know, man. What's going to happen here?
I'm going to go LaSalle only because I want to see them keep winning. It's a great story.
Local, right. We got know some people and stuff. So, we root for LaSalle, to get there.
So what's LaSalle going to do for Mass? It's the game would be on Sunday, November 30th at 12:30 p.m. I mean, are they going to have Mass down at I just can't go with that.
Yeah. What day? Wait, so they would play Sunday. Yeah, I got to
Sunday at 12:30
because of the Sunday game now, that's the odd numbers, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Should be all the odd
now
numbers.
We're looking
all
at
the odd
Division
numbers
4.
are on Sunday, which starting with the low Division 7 would be at 10:30 or something like that.
But I always remember the Division 1 and Division 2 games being at like 12:30 or like 1 o'clock. It was always like middle of the day. I don't remember.
But they switched
it,
that.
Yeah.
That Division 1 game now is a prime time game.
Yeah, which
even if they were playing on Saturdays, I think they switched that too. They would have it at night now. The Division 1 and 2, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm looking right now. Well, Division 4, we're going to talk Division 4. That would be Friday at 12:30 p.m. So let's talk about these. Hudsonville Unity Christian playing Pittsburgh. Playing Vicksburg speaking of Caledonia, this is where the game will be played in Caledonia. So Hudsonville Unity Christian. So I'm just going to look this up real quick here. So Hudson Unity Christian is 11-1. Vicksburg is 8-4 coming into this game. Once again, these guys have made it so far. You can't put much on them when it comes to that. Vicksburg, their victories. So they lost a couple, 2-game losing streak to Otsego and to Niles, but they've pretty much played well, and they've had a couple blowout losses, but the most they got blown out by Pawpaw 42-6, and lost to Grand Rapids Northview, and they lost to Otsego and Niles, but nothing too bad there. But then you've got Hudsonville Unity Christian, 11-1. One loss they had was to you guys in Notre Dame Prep, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been putting up massive points, 50 points a game, everything else there. Once again, on paper, Hudsonville Unity Christian should win this game, no problem. But it's, you get here. Vicksburg has a puncher's chance.
Correct. So, it's up for grabs. Whoever, I mean, anything can happen here.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be Hudsonville Unity Christian. I think they're going to kind of go through in Vicksburg. The next one, Goodrich is playing Dearborn Divine Child at Stony Creek. Where's Goodrich High School? I don't even know. Honestly, I feel bad saying that, but to have that at, it's got to be in between the two of them there. So let's look up.
It's actually, I think it's by Davison.
Okay. So that makes sense why you'd have it there. All right. So Goodrich coming in number 13 at 12-0, and Divine Child coming in at 11-1. I think it's a good matchup. I obviously still would have loved to seen Harper Woods, see what they could have done, but Harper Woods probably was a little distracted after all the change in field, which, I don't want to blame coaches. I don't want to blame anything there, but you got to have those kids ready, and you got to have those kids ready to play. And of course, once again, Divine Child's not the Falcons aren't just some team that are going to get blown out. So I mean, they're a hell of a team as well.
We played them last year, not this year. We played them last year, and they were tough, man.
Yeah,
they were strong.
Yeah,
and then here they are this year. Again, they made a run last year, and here they are again this year, and good for them. So I don't know. Harper Woods might have overlooked them a little bit. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who wanted it more? Obviously, last week. So I'm gonna say
their
Divine
only
Child
loss
wanted
of
it
the
a little
year.
bit more, and
yeah,
I like their chances to get in there.
The only loss for Divine Child this year was Toledo St. Francis,
And
24-17. So close game, close loss there. Goodrich coming in 12-0. Same thing. Been blowing teams out. They've had some great teams there. I think it's another location bias when I say Divine Child. I think I'm gonna go Goodrich on this, only because honestly we probably don't know as much about Goodrich as we do Divine Child, and they've been playing good ball. And I just gut feeling says Goodrich is going to go through and play in that state championship game against Hudsonville Unity Christian, and that one again is at Friday, 12:30 p.m.
Okay.
All right. So Division 5. We'll go through some of the rest of these pretty quick. We're going through there. But this is the one that Bobby really cares about, and it's going to be at Westland John Glenn High School. Monroe Jefferson playing Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Monroe Jefferson coming in at 11-1. Their only loss to Monroe St. Mary's Catholic Central is 20-15, but taking care of business pretty much down there in their division. Play great football this year. But again, Notre Dame Prep coming in at 10-2. The losses 2 in a row to Jackson, Lumen Christi, and to Gibraltar Carlson, but winning every game since then.
Tough. Irish are tough. I'm telling you. Watch out. I'm with the Irish, obviously. I think their toughest one. No disrespect to Monroe Jefferson, but I think last week's Frankenmuth game was the big one for the Irish for ND. So I'm going to say they take care of business this weekend with Monroe.
Well, I didn't realize their first 2 weeks of the playoffs, they beat Hazel Park 59-0, and they beat Denby 49-0. So you're scoring almost 118 points to 0 in those first 2 weeks.
But I don't know. We don't know much about those teams, do we?
No,
Denby and Hazel Park.
Not too much there, but. Once again, Monroe Jefferson, similar. They put up 71 against Michigan Center last week. Then they beat Romulus Summit Academy North 34-21, and then they beat Flat Rock 36-8. So, it's once again, you throw everything out right now. It is what it is. Unless you're going to have Catholic Central playing Cardinal Mooney, I don't think you really can push it one way or the other.
Right. So here's another thing too that you got to look at, and we don't know, being healthy, key guys that are healthy and key guys that are not healthy has a lot to do with, you go into this game and you got a guy or two that we're not sure of that's not healthy. That's going to change
ankle
the
or
game.
Something. Yeah.
That's going to change the game. But if you come in 100% healthy, which this time of year, it is hard. Everybody's banged up, really, this time of the year.
Nobody's 100%.
No. But, I know the Irish have their key guys, so.
Well.
But, I mean, even a team that put up 71 points, it's a little okay, here we go.
Took us a couple weeks to do that when we were playing.
Yeah, right.
I think Notre Dame Prep's going to go through. I think they're going to go advance, and that game will be Sunday 4 p.m. at Ford Field. The winner of those guys. Yes. We'll just talk about Division 6, 7, and 8 pretty quick here. Division 6, Kingsley, Kent City playing in Cadillac. Jackson, Lumen Christi, and Elmont playing at Novi on Saturday as well. The winner of those 2 games will match up on Friday, 4 p.m., Ford Field. Kingsley's been on a run, and obviously Kent City's been playing good too. They put up points. I don't know who to pick there. And then Jackson, Lumen Christi, and Elmont. We've got the Fighting Derbies and Elmont, and I think they're all going to come in an Astro van with Pontiac Transport that's missing the hood.
Yeah.
Little inside joke for all those Cardinal Mooney folks actually paying attention.
That'd be something. Good for Almont. Their program's come a long way, and it's like a small town football up there. And good for them. But Lumen Christi's, I think, loaded. I mean, they play in that league, correct?
Yeah.
CC. And here they are. I mean, a little bit like.
Let's see who Lumen Christi's played.
I just think Lumen Christi's going to take this division.
I mean, they played Lombard, Montini from Illinois, their first game. Then they played you guys, Notre Dame Prep, Grand Rapids Catholic Central, UAD Jesuit, Divine Child. They lost to Divine Child 17-13, so it was a heck of a game. Toledo St. Francis, Newmarket, Huron Heights, Traverse City St. Francis, Centerline, Onstead, Napoleon. Yep. Yeah, kind of looking there is, Elmont, we know which, where they're in that St. Clair League. Can't remember the exact division they're in, but yeah. So let's go division. Give me a second. Let's talk about that Division 7 again real quick. Which we didn't go through. So it's Menominee. Menominee. Why can't I
Menominee.
talk? This Menominee that's right. They're UP, aren't they?
Yes.
Is going to be playing Pewamo, Westphalia, and Gaylord on Saturday, and you're going to have Schoolcraft playing Clinton and Coldwater on Saturday. So both of it's obviously you're seeing teams outside. The Division 7's never has anybody else in the Detroit area, but so it's good to kind of see those guys kind of going through. Those teams will play. That you mentioned, Bob, 9:30 Saturday or Sunday morning.
9:30.
9
earlier and earlier. 7 and 8 are playing earlier and earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then Division 8.
I think that's tough. I mean,
you got
listen,
you got to get there 2 hours early.
I mean, obviously, if we were playing, I mean, I get it.
They're
young and they're going to be up for it, but man, a 9:30 football game for a high school championship game.
So you're getting up. Let's just you got to be at the field minimum by if it's 9:30 start 7:30 to get ready, get your warm ups in. That means most of these guys are going to be staying in a hotel and everything else, no matter where you're at. You're up. You're going to have your pregame meal. Everything is going to be at what, 6 o'clock?
A lot changes.
5:30, 6
kids
o'clock.
Aren't used to that.
I'm not used to that. And I'm 50 years old.
Right. I think that has to do with some things.
Yeah,
granted, I get it. They're a lot younger. They are. Millie was interested in the Menominee, but I really think that has some things to do with it. When you got your whole ritual pregame stuff changes, and where you sleep and where you. And for all the athletes, we talk about that. Things change. And so
it's outside of your norm. And, we joked about it last week about the whole Hoosiers. How tall is this, Ollie? It's 10 feet. Okay, well, it's 15 feet to the free throw line. It's this. But you throw into that one thing you're really not used to, that 9:30 start. I could see 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It'd be like a West Coast team coming out and playing at their normal time.
Right.
Not a high school team, but all right. So let's go. Last thing, we got Division 8, Bark River Harris playing Harbor Beach, Hudson playing Allen Park Cabrini. So finally, one of the schools we see there, Allen Park Cabrini. Where's Bages? That game's being played at Adrian College, and the other game being played at Alpena. So Cabrini, I'd love to see them come through. Just because obviously being that part of that Catholic League that we were for so long, they're 11-1 this year. It beat Mooney 42-7. All part of that Catholic League, but still going to be good to see for them. They're going to be playing Friday at 9:30 a.m. as well.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Cabrini.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I just looking up here, the 8-man football, their championships are going to be this weekend. They're playing at the Superior Dome at Northern Michigan there. So I think, everyone that's stuck around with us now for almost an hour, high school football, it's glad to see some of these controversies we've seen early on kind of settle themselves. We're seeing good football playing. You're seeing a lot of these kids play well, putting up good points. I think there's a couple matchups I'm really looking for, all those Division 1 matchups. You're looking for some of those other smaller ones, but anxious to see what's going to kind of come through there. So what game would you be, obviously you're going to go to the Notre Dame game, John Glenn.
Yeah, we're planning on it, yes.
If you didn't go to that game, what's the other game that you would want to go see?
I was going to go to Troy Athens to see it's Cass Tech.
Yeah.
Cass Tech game.
I think that's what I might go to.
Adams, correct? Yeah.
Correct. So Adams at Troy High School or Troy Athens.
Yeah, that would have been the game. If I'm not going to Notre Dame, that was the game I'm going to. I think that'd be, for driving purposes too, it's a little bit closer. A lot of these neutral sites.
Yeah, that's part of the part I was looking at going up to Grand Blanc to see LaSalle play, because I know my brother and sister-in-law and Gabby will be there, and that's an hour and 15 minutes each way, and then I just found out I got to work church, so I don't know about doing that.
Yeah, right. Just seeing, because we Bloomfield Hills, we would have been, those are the matchups, being in Division 1, just to kind of size up a little bit and to see what it's about, to go to that game and see those guys, and even if it was Catholic Central or whatever, but I'd love to see the big boys, as they like to say.
Yeah, exactly.
To have it out Saturday for punch your ticket. So, but good luck to everybody.
Yep.
To this semis this weekend, and to try and punch your ticket to Ford Field for Thanksgiving weekend. What it's about, man.
getting goosebumps thinking about that. These kids and what they're going to experience, and
For sure.
memories the rest of their lives, something they'll never forget. Bob, thanks so much for being a part of this again today. The second week, we got some people paying attention and listening to us. So,
All right, man.
we're going to keep this up. Next week, we'll probably go. I don't know if our wives will let us do it on Thanksgiving, but we'll probably do it on Wednesday, talk a little bit ahead of time. And for those of you wanting your regular UFP media production and schedule, we're going to have our next cast. Jimmy, Mike, and I will be available. We're going to be doing our next podcast after the Lions game this Sunday. So Lions over the Giants. Cam Scatabo isn't going to be there and all the rest of those guys, but
he's not at the wrestling matches.
Oh, yeah.
QE.
Exactly. And by the way, go Broncos.
Go Eagles.
Go Broncos.
Eastern. Let's go.
All right, everybody.
Go
thanks
Irish.
so much for
go
listening.
Irish, baby. Let's go, ND.
All right. Take care, guys. And thanks
All
again.
right. Thanks for having me.